And I am live talking about movies once again. So we talk about two violent movies reviews. I, in purpose, change a bit the title of these movies to hopefully make sure YouTube doesn't make these movies 18 and above. Anyway, this is the premise of it. One of the two movies, being the first one we will be covering, is tracking to be one of the worst movies of 2026. It's kind of funny because I didn't hate that movie as much as what I've seen online, but that's a trope with me. And the second movie is a movie with Glenn Powell that's quite liked by the audience, but quite hated by the critiques. So I am Multi-Topic Talk, and we talk movies tonight. So let's get into the first movie. So let's screen share the page, the wiki page, to get to see who is involved in the first movie we are covering tonight. So there we go. You see the full title. I won't mention it out loud because, again, if I mention it out loud, maybe YouTube will say, oh, restricted. And I don't want that. So that movie, again, is tracking to be one of the most hated movies of 2026. So it was directed by Gavin Poloni, written by Andrew Kevin Walker, produced by Roy Lee, Matt Berenson, Andrew Kevin Walker, Eamon Mitchton. So these are like the three-ish producer. It starred Georgina Campbell, James Preston Rogers, and Malcolm McDowell. Cinematography, Magnus Junk. Edited by Derek Ambrose, Sven Folklore. Production companies, Regency Enterprise, New Regency, Constantin Film, Vertigo Entertainment. Distributed by 20th Century Studios, United States, and Constantin Film, Germany. Release date, February 20, 2026. Running time, 91 minutes. Countries, United States and Germany, which is very interesting. Language, English. Budget, around 10 million. And box office, 2 million. It's underperforming. And I'm not surprised because, again, it's been slandered and tore apart by everyone on every corner of the internet except me. I still don't think it's an amazing movie, but I think people might be too harsh on it. Now that we covered the distribution, let's get into the plot, and I won't spoil too much. We will get into a more spoilery aspect after the non-spoilery plot aspect. So the plot, quite simple. Cock seeks for revenge and goes after a serial monster to remain user-friendly that enjoys making history and satanic thing. So this is the premise of this movie, and I think it's very interesting. That kind of movie has been made times and times. Maybe that's why people hated it. So now we enter the spoilery review aspect. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you can click off the video. And again, I don't mention out loud the title of the movie because I don't want this video to be restricted. So let's get into the spoilery aspect. Let's start with the issues I had with that movie that's despised and hated by everyone except me. So the first issue is weird, off-putting dialogue in therapy that's also a underdeveloped subplot. My second issue with Psycho something, the entire road sequence with the truck that blew up felt very contrived because, like, we got these random people with a random flat, and then, oh, look, a random truck, and everything goes wild, and now the monster takes other lives. it just felt like, oh, it happened because we need more victims, and that's it. And that's a trope in slasher movie. We got random victims. Now the third issue, and the plant. By the end of the movie, they took forever to advise proper authorities on the threat, which felt stupid for a movie that took itself seriously. My fourth issue, characters kept doing stupid stuff like telling their plans to be toppled. The final and fifth issue, tone was off despite the good dark humor overall. Most of the characters are stupid for the movie to even work. And it wasn't intended since the movie seemed to be taking itself seriously. So these were my dislike, the reason why I didn't enjoy that movie that much. And maybe that's why it's weighted because people don't give as much leniency as me on that movie. So let's get into the likes and the teams. My likes, characters were enjoyable. I think for a slasher, that one had flavor. And I don't like slashers. Usually I despise slashers. I've seen lots of slashers, like Pray at Night, The Stranger, the new Stranger movie. I wanted to review it until I had seen it, and I was like, that movie is not even worth my time. I think the new Stranger movie is actually one of the worst movie of the year. Um, but yeah, to get back to Psycho something, um, the dark humor was on point, and for a slasher, I'd say the main villain was compelling enough for me because, like, there were several aspects to him. Um, does he get amazing growth? I don't think so. And considering how short that movie timeline is, it kind of makes sense it doesn't evolve that much. But again, the guy is entertaining. Oh, hi there. Welcome to the stream. We are talking about a monster that used satanic stuff as the driving force behind his atrocious things. So again, we are covering a new movie that just came out, and try to not mention the title because again, I don't want this video to be restricted. Well, thank you very much. Now, the next things to enjoy about that movie. The gore was great, the action was entertaining, the investigation was entertaining, great at showing over telling. So the themes of that movie: people take religion too far, too often. People use religion as excuse for horrible thing. Revenge doesn't fix what's broken in you. Many monsters only want attention. And that summarized very well that movie. Now, I don't have a lot more to say for my review. I will give a 6 out of 10 to that movie. And now let's take a look to what other people online say about this movie. Am I crazy? Let's screen share Rottentomato. This is our metric. We will cover a few of the audience comments and a few of the critique. Even if I don't take really critique seriously, they still exist. They still have a voice. So yes, this is exactly what I'm saying. My score is much higher than both the critique and the audience. Maybe I'm crazy. Anyway, so the critique gave that movie a 10%, and the audience gave a 35%. So everyone hated that movie except me. So let's get into the comments of the critiques. Frank Schick, the Hollywood reporter, 3D. So that guy seems interesting. So let's read out what he had to say about that movie I quite enjoyed. Let's get into it. So, the climax proves roughly ridiculous. I agree with that. The climax was ridiculous. It was one of my issues. It felt so stupid. But by that point, you've given up on the film anyway. I didn't give up. I actually, that's the climax that made me give up. But again, I'm no Hollywood critique. So that one gave a rotten score, no metric, just a rotten score. The second critique, Eric Pippenberg, New York Times. Again, it's rotten once again. One could be forgiven for thinking that Poloni and the screenwriter Andrew Kevin Walker wanted to prank audience, not actually terrify them. It didn't work. So that goes back to what I said. Well, I gave a 6, so it's no masterpiece, but like, yeah, I agree. That's me right now. If you want to opt in. I don't know if you've seen it. Um, I had issues with that thing, but I enjoyed it mostly. Um, Now, and odd take, I enjoyed it more than Primate. Anyway, to get back to the critique, I agree with Eric Papenberg. I liked it more than him, but I agree with the guy. Um, Benjamin Lee Guardian with a 2 out of 5, so that'd be a 4 out of 10. Still much lower than me, but it's normal at that point. It's a strange beast, and it's too straightforward and dumb to work as crime trailer, which is a thing I said as well. Yet too dull and scare free to work as horror, awkwardly falling somewhere in between. I'd say it's horror because it's a slasher, but yeah, that's how I view that movie. And again, that person gave a 4. Now the next one, Cody Derrick, next best picture, a 3 out of 10. It may seem strange to wish that a film were executed with less polish, but is this one have at least given Psycho Monster a grotesquely charming personality instead of it's an unremarkably and totally dull movie, I guess. That could be the rest of his comments. So another person that quite hated the movie, and I understand his critique. So let's get into the audience. Oh, someone that gave the same score as me. Frank M. Adequate genre movie that has some interesting things to keep you engaged, but also clearly adds some editing issues. Interesting. So that person gave the exact same score. Ellie gave half a star, so that'd be like 10% or a 10 out of 10. It was like a 2B movie shown on a big screen. Wow! Roasted! I like that comment. I didn't know that. It doesn't feel at all. Like, it has the gritty and the gore, but I think 7 is genuinely an amazing movie. I enjoyed a lot. And I feel like we got a TMU version of it. Like, Psycho Monster is like a worse 7. A far worse 7. Like, it's not even fair to compare them. So I don't think it feels like the same guy. Like, maybe the only thing that's borrowed from 7 is like maybe the gore. Maybe the gore. Because even the tone is off. Like, it's a movie that's ridiculous, but it takes itself seriously. And I don't think it's in purpose. And based on the critique I've seen and then the review right now, it's not in purpose. So they really dropped the ball on the tone of the movie. But that's a slasher. And again, I liked it more than Primate. Now, let's get into the next 2 comments. This movie sucked. I do not recommend. Half a star. Again, another 1 out of 10. Oh, closer to my grade. 4 out of 10. I mean, it's bad, but not as bad as I had hoped. Wow! This is like the ultimate insult. So overall, I think I'm crazy, but it's nothing new. Again, it's a slasher out there. I enjoyed it. It's no masterpiece. Does it feels? No, it really doesn't feel like that. But I already can insert it. So yeah, as usual, I'm the crazy guy in the room, but I like it, and maybe I will try an audience by being that way. Anyway, let's get into the next movie, which is a movie that's quite divided between the critique out there and the audience. And even there on that matrix, on these matrix, I'm far higher than both. Uh, I I haven't read as many comments on the other one because the other one is not legendary bad like Psycho Monster. So the next movie is How to Make a Ing. Hopefully, I didn't piss off the YouTubes. So as usual, we start with the distribution and the plot for that movie, and that movie is far better than Psycho Monster. Um, a lot better. It's not even fair to compare the both, but here we are, and I will just pull up my notes. It's not too far. Um, as of right now, Ultimate a Healing is one of my favorites movie of the year. It's around like fourth or fifth place, but I've only seen like 10. But it's still telling because like I enjoyed lots of movies this year. There's three movies I didn't like this year up to now, and all of the three I didn't like. Well, actually, two I didn't like, and one I liked, but that wasn't great. All horror flicks. My bottom three right now is all horror flicks. Anyway, let's get into this one. How to Make a Ing. Directed by John Peyton Ford, screenplay by John Peyton Ford, based on Israel Rank, the autobiography of a criminal by Roy Honeyman. Produced by Graham Broadbent, Pete Ximen, starring Glenn Powell, Margaret Qualley. Those who know her, she went in many movies. I may confuse her with her sister, but I think she was in The Substance. Jessica Enwick. I think Jessica Enwick was in Iron Fist. Not quite sure 100%, but I think she was. Bill Kemp, Zach Woods, Topher Grace, Ed Harris, narrated by Glenn Powell. Cinematography, Todd Bezal. Edited by Harrison Hickins. Music by Emile Mosuri. Production company, Blueprint Pictures. Distributed by Studio Cano. Release dates, February 2026, United States. And that's surprising because United Kingdom got it before us on March 13th. Oh, no, it's after us. It's almost a month after us. It's not surprising, actually. What is going on? My brain is fried. Running time, 105 minutes. Countries, France, UK. Yet the USA gets it first, and Canada gets it first as well. Funny. Language, English. Budget 40 million and box office 4 million. This is a bloodbath. This one is bleeding all over the carpet. It does even worse than Psycho Monster. Wow! Spicy, spicy. Now we will get into the plot. Prisoner on death row speaks to a priest about how he started taking lives to earn an inheritance from a wealthy family. That's the premise. That's very simple. That's very interesting. It has so much dark humor. And now, this is the moment we start spoiling the entire thing. So, spoiler about How to Make a Ing to remain YouTube friendly. So this movie, I only had one issue with it, only one. And as usual, that may be a very weird one, but let's get into it. Feels off how the villain plays with fire, knowing full well how Beckett took several lives. She threatens someone who ends life. So basically, she blackmails someone that's clearly proven is kind of a sociopath or psychopath. And she plays with fire and she plays with him the entire movie. It feels just so stupid Like, who in their right mind would do it? That movie is quite funny and it has lots of dark humor as intended, but it just feels off. Like, I think it takes away the credibility of the main villain. Um, Now let's get into the likes, because now there's the like. Great humor, colorful and entertaining cast of characters. Great acting, nice villains, nice subtle messaging, cool and creative scenes where lives were taken. All of the blackmailing was entertaining, great and fitting ending. Everything has consequence. And one of my favorite thing about that movie is how it started. And spoiler, the first life that's taken is actually by accident, because the lead wanted to take a life, but it wasn't quite sure. It wasn't solidified as that monster that just took lives. And then it just happens by accident, and it's hilarious. So basically, he's attaching a anchor to the feet of someone on a boat, but he's not quite sure. He hesitates before throwing the anchor on the water. And then eventually he's like, oh, I think I will not do that. So he steps away, and the anchor just slip off the boat, and it brings the guy underwater. It was just hilarious. And it's really dark humor. I mean, laughing at someone dying, because that's the purpose of that scene, was something. I think that movie was very creative. Now let's get into the themes. Nice messaging about doing whatever it takes to find happiness. Nice messaging how some of the victims don't deserve anything, yet they got everything. Nice messaging how love matters more than wealth. Nice growth how the lead realized he can't take lives of good people when it came down to his uncle that was the only nice rich toward him. Now, I'll also add this that I didn't mark down on letterboxd because I didn't think of it at the moment, but now I think about it. At the ending, when Glenn Powell character is in front of his grandpa, and his grandpa knows he is the target, his grandpa is like, you have one bullet, use it. Glenn Powell gave up on that because he realized, oh, what am I turning into? And then the old grandpa guy takes the gun and it chases after Glenn Powell in the rich house, which was fascinating. That sequence was amazing. And then the entire sequence where Glenn Powell takes the bow and arrows, and there's that big encounter at the end of the movie was quite fun, and it led to very ominous moments where it's actually self-defense against some old guy. It's like peak entertainment, and it's also a payoff because early in the movie, he's shown as a kid learning how to shoot arrows. So that's a nice payoff, and I think that movie again is a very fun experience. I'd highly recommend, and let's give our score out of 10 with that one. 9.7. I did like that movie more than Wuthering Heights and Goat from last week. So again, as of right now, the higher movies than this one are 28 Years Later, it's higher. Dog 51 is higher. And is it the only two higher? Maybe it's the only two that are actually higher. Oh, there's also Saint Elb that I like more. So it's actually in fourth place this year up to now. Anyway, let's get into the Rottentomato comments to see if we are crazy in what we say. And I think we are, because again, I enjoyed the slasher that everyone hated. So let's get this. There we go. Well, that's the second movie with audience 76, which is lower than me but closer to me, and critique 48. This is how people felt about that movie. So to make it more interesting, I just zoom in so people see. The first critique review, A Barry Ertz, Globe and Mail. How to make a alien is a Ryan Johnson light concoction that is neither all that funny nor moderately twisty. The entire unfair affair landing too close to its title and feeling simply dead on arrival. I don't know about that. I think it's too harsh. Maybe it very close home because I don't feel like they deserve their spotlight as critiques. I don't know. Sarah Michelle Vetters, moviefreaks.com. 2 out of 4, so that'd be like a 5 out of 10. If one wanted a case study on how far a charming ensemble can carry an otherwise mediocre motion picture writer, director, John Patton Ford's How to Make It Ailing would be a terrific place to start. She didn't like it. Next one also didn't like it with a 5 out of 10. Unfortunately, this ailing just isn't the windfall that was expected. What did you guys expect? Really, that was a dark comedy. What did you expect for real? Patrick McDonald's, WBJR FM 93.7 FM, Monroe, with a 5 out of 10. I don't know if it's Ben Powell himself or his choice, but again, a starring vehicle with him doesn't work. Plot-wise, everything is ended or constantly being hit over the head. Without shame, I guess. I disagree, but hey, these are critique. Who am I, right? Oh, look, the first audience liked it a lot. Not as much as me, but almost. That's a 9 out of 10. I love this movie. Super entertaining and unexpected from Maya. Robert M. Somewhat entertaining with a 3 stars, so that'd be a 6 out of 10. Oh my, now it goes downhill. Boring from Michael, 2 stars, so that'd be a 4 out of 10. Margaret Lee Qualley sucks. I disagree. I like Margaret Qualley in whatever she is in. But the media tells us she's great. Yes, she is, bruh. The movie is soulless and vapid and has no message. Maybe that person missed the point of the movie because it has several message. Are they the best one or the most unique one? I don't think so, but they are a message in the movie. So blame it on the viewer, that one. Talia, half a star. I wish I could have give negative review instead of this half star. It's the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. Oh my. Okay. So they thought it was boring. That's their argument. Okay, well, to each their own, I guess. So overall, I'm crazy. People hated that movie as well. And hopefully, eventually, I will grow some kind of audience that likes hot takes like mine. Anyway, what did you think of these 2 movies that have title that are not enjoyed on YouTube? I know I did like them. Anyhow, this is the outro section. What happens next on the channel? Well, tomorrow, big gaming night, Splinter Cell Pandora tomorrow. Wednesday, we talk about Lucifer, season 4, 5, and 6. Thursday, we play Splinter Cell Pandora tomorrow again. Saturday, political stream. And Friday, Resident Evil 9. Because Resident Evil 9 is coming out. And I will purchase the game. I cannot wait to play it. Anyhow, that's the planning. And next week there's Stream 7. I don't like that IP. So maybe I will hate that 7th movie. That doesn't feel justified. Because I think that franchise should have ended with 3. The 3rd one was my favorite. I know that's a very hot take, but that's how I feel. So it's a lie to say I'm looking forward to watch it, but I will watch it. Anyhow, if I get the chance, if I get the time, I think I will go watch Crime 101. I will find a day eventually to review it, or it will be forgotten and I won't talk about it, but I will have seen it. So at least I will be normal. Anyway, we are out. Thank you for watching and see you soon for more reviews, gaming, or politics streams. Take care. Have a great one.